Welcome to Wild Bill's Garage. Today what we're looking at is I got no heat in a friend's car. And it being Chicago, it is getting a little chilly out, so it is time to work on this kind of stuff and give my friend some heat. This is an '04 Mitsubishi Endeavor. And I'm going to walk through some of the preliminary checks, and then we'll dive in a little deeper and see if we can figure out what the actual root cause is. Stay tuned. So one of the first things we check in trying to diagnose no heat, the very, very first thing we check is coolant level itself. We look at the coolant level because there's quite a few cars out there that even if they're slightly low, a little bit low, like a cup low on coolant, you could have low or no heat issues. So it's always the first thing we check. And you know, before we open up the radiator cap, we always check and see if it's pressurized. Give the upper radiator hose a little squeeze. And if it's not hard, you know, if it's squishy, it's okay to open. So I can actually open up this radiator cap and pull it off and look down inside there. And it is a small bit low, so I'm going to add a little coolant, but I really don't think that's it. Okay? But where we're at now is we're actually way in the back on the firewall, and what we're looking at is these two hoses right here. These two hoses, see if I get my arm out of the way. These two hoses back here, that's the heater core. That's what delivers the heat inside the car from the coolant of the engine and heats up the heater core, which that's how we get the heat inside. So all I'm really going to do, this car is hot right now. It just got here. So I'm just going to check this really simple, and it's easy. All I do is just kind of put my finger on the hose where it is the firewall and see if it's hot, and it is. It's kind of burning my fingers. That's good. Check the other one, and yeah, it's nice and toasty. So that tells me I have good flow through the heater core. If one of the hoses was cool, I'd know that there was a flow problem with the antifreeze getting inside the car, and there isn't. So that tells us it's something else, and it's probably inside the car, and that's where we're going to go next. All right, so we're looking inside the car, and one of the things I noticed when I first turned on the key, and this was also the customer complaint besides the no heat, was it was making some kind of a noise in the background. The customer also states that it's intermittent. Does it like randomly comes on and off? I'm suspecting a blend door, which that's the next thing I'm going to go check. Key is on, and I'm going to go into, let's check the diagnostic trouble codes first. Read codes. And I do have a code for the air mix damper door. Okay, so what we've done so far, we checked the outside, and I'm going to now go inside. I've taken a bunch of the stuff apart so we can get to the air mix damper door, and one of the things I had to do is I had to make certain that I was on the right door, which I actually took apart the other side thinking the door was over there because I looked up the wrong year, and I went and looked up the right year, and it says it's on this side. There's two of them that are kind of right next to each other, so in order to make sure I get the exact right door to mess with, what I do is I pulled the plug on it, and then I go and I check. Hang on. I go and I check. Exit that. There it is. There's my desktop. Come on. I go in and I look at the actual colors of the wires. So I go in and I check these colors against which motor door I'm working on, because there's a temperature door and a mode door over there, which is, you know, just to make sure I get the right one and I'm messing with the right one, which I am. So, all right, we're going to go in and have a look-see at it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this air mix damper door, which is right here. And you can see right here is the end sticking out the other side of the shaft that goes through. And I actually put a little mark on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit out of this, and I'm going to go into special tests, and I'm going to put the air mix damper door at 100%, which should be, you know, all the way one way. And then here it is, my air mix target is 54%, which that's the target. That should be where it's at right now, although it says it's at 67%. So as soon as I hit the on button, this damper door should move. So let's have a look-see at this damper door. See, make sure I got the picture. I got the picture. Oopsie. And it didn't move. Although what did move was my target. My target moved to 100%. So it's looking for 100%, but my motor still didn't move. Now, this thing does have a code attached to it. So it could be that the code is overriding the motor and saying, you know, the motor's bad, please don't move the motor. So let's exit out of this. Let's go back. Come on, you can do it. Exit out again, go back into my trouble codes. I'm going to clear the codes out. Yes, I am sure. It's kind of like when you're buying something with your debit card. Are you sure you want to spend $12? Yes, I am. Okay, so they're cleared out. So now I'm going to go back again. Oopsie, exit. Go back into my special tests. Go back to my air mix damper door at 100%. And then I'm going to hit on. Let's see if it moves. Come on. And it's still asking for it. And I got nothing. Isn't moving at all. So this is what's telling me I think this thing is bad. Now, I can go in and check and make sure the connections are good. Back to shaky cam. Hey, how you doing? Okay, so this is what I got. I got the air mix damper door, the temperature control door out, and this is the guy right here. I pulled it all the way out, which is no easy feat. It is not an easy feat. I got it back probed into the motor control, and I have my meters set up. It is on voltage. Hang on. Let's see if you can see it. Let me double check. Keep the light right. Yeah, and we can see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the key, if I can find the keys. There's the keys. Turn on the keys. Give it a sec here to fire up, and there it is. It says it's moving. And there I marked the little shaft. Can you see the little shaft? The little shaft is not moving. So the motor's moving. Motor inside is working, but the shaft isn't moving at all. So this is telling me that the motor is bad. That would be junk. So I'm going to call and see how much a new motor is and see how fast I can get one, which probably not today, but I'll figure something out. All right. Okay, so this is day 2 of this car. Catch up on what's going on. Been a nightmare trying to get the part. I could not find the part anywhere. Dealership had the part, but it was pretty expensive because I had to buy the whole heater core assembly, which, you know, it's like a lot of money. It's like $300 or something. So I didn't want to go that route. Then a good friend of mine comes to the rescue. He works at a pick and pull. I mentioned it to him. Next thing I know, he calls me up. He goes, I got one, which was great. Okay, good deal. How much? And he's like, well, you know, I'll grab it for you. And, you know, so he hooked me up and he gave it to me, and I checked it, and it didn't work. Now, I had the old one, so I pulled both of them apart, and one of them had a busted gear in it, and mine had a stripped gear on another different gear. So I managed to cobble together a good one, I hope. Carl will be here in a minute, and I'll see about putting it in. We're going to give this a try. Let's see what happens. I think it'll work. And shaky cam. Hey, how you doing? All right, so I have the scan tool hooked up, and I actually did put in the new rebuilt servo motor. So I'm going to go in and actually test it and show you what a good one looks like this time. So hang on, here it is. All right, and I can see my target. That's where that's where the computer is commanding it. And then here's the potentiometer. This is what the servo is reporting back to the computer. So it's asking for 40.1%. That's my target. And the potentiometer is responding saying, I am at 40.1%. So if I hit this little on button right here, I'm going to send it to 100%. And it responds by going to 100%. Let me turn it off. And it goes back again. And I can actually watch it move. Here. There's the little arm. I hit go. Wait, go. And I can see the arm moving. So, we're good. Works now. Thanks.